What's up, people? Today I'm going to be getting into my Blu-ray 4K and 3D review of Batman vs. Superman. We got a lot to talk about today, and I got it all coming up for you guys next. So Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Let's get right into the Blu-ray review, and this movie looks really good on Blu-ray, although right from the get-go, I will just say that I don't like the way that this movie looks like Man of Steel. You know, Man of Steel, I just jive with that cinematography a lot more than this movie. You know, I feel like this movie is a very dark movie, and it should be because it takes place in Gotham. It has a lot to do with Batman, and it should be a darker movie, and with that, you get a lot of crushing blacks on this particular Blu-ray that, to be honest, I feel like a lot of people didn't talk about when this Blu-ray actually came out, but I definitely notice it, especially in certain scenes, like in the scene where Batman is at the docks and he is chasing after the those cars after he decided to shoot a tracker on them. That scene is very grainy, and I feel like certain shots of it don't really look that good, especially when for some reason, when the villains are actually like shooting out of the car at Batman, I feel like they used a different camera for those shots, and you definitely notice it there. But hey, this isn't all bad. You know, you definitely have the destruction of Metropolis from Bruce's point of view at the very beginning of the movie. That looks really great. And another thing that looks really great and was shot digitally, and you can definitely tell, is the scene where Bruce's parents die. And that scene in particular looks really, really damn good. And I'll talk about it later on, but there is a specific reason for that. So guys, I'm going to give the Blu-ray of Batman vs. Superman a 7 out of 10. This isn't that good, but it's not that bad either. It's kind of, you know, right in the middle there, and it is more good than bad. But hey, I had some minor gripes with it. So getting into the 4K Ultra HD release of Batman vs. Superman, like Man of Steel, this was shot in 35mm and digitally, and then it was all put together to make up a 2K master. So like Man of Steel, this is an actual up conversion from that original 2K master. And with that being said, this looks better than Man of Steel does on in 4K, and that is because of the fact that it actually has an improvement over the standard Blu-ray. I feel like this is a more consistent transfer. Those problems that I had with the black levels on the Blu-ray aren't a problem here for me for the most part. And when I say that, I just mean that on that dock scene, it is toned down. I still notice it, and it still has grainier elements to it. You can definitely tell that that is the scene, one of them anyway, that was shot in 35mm, but with that in mind, I definitely, I see an improvement there. I also see improvement in the detail of Batman's cool-ass suit, and I see improvements on just the way that light shines off of Superman's new suit as well. I mean, this is like a lot more shinier and a lot more of a glossier suit for Superman in this movie. HDR, with the exception of the better black levels, really doesn't play into this movie. And when I say that, I mean that the upgraded color that really should be coming with the HDR, it doesn't play into this movie. And I don't really get a more naturalistic looking film here than I did in the Blu-ray, or at least for me, I didn't notice it. But overall, guys, this is a better presentation of Batman vs. Superman than the Blu-ray. I will give it an 8 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it is better than the actual Blu-ray. So, thumbs up. And guys, I actually picked up the 3D version of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice so I can talk to you guys about it. And I was a little disappointed with this one. With the exception of that first scene that was actually shot with an IMAX camera. You know, the scene where Bruce loses his parents yet again. Especially the part where the gun goes into Martha's jewelry. You can definitely tell that is very 3D, and it looks really good in 3D. But beyond that point, I am telling you, very little of this movie actually even comes across in 3D. But besides that, there is so much ghosting going on here. I was seeing triples. It was just ugly-ass transfer in 3D. And I was glad that I didn't see this in 3D when I saw this in theaters. And for that, I actually have to give the 3D transfer of this movie a 4 out of 10. At times it was very ghosty, and at times it kind of had a 3D element to it besides that first scene, but for the most part, guys, you guys don't need to shell out for this. So next I'm going to be getting into the audio of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. You won't want to miss it. It's coming up for you guys next. So the audio of Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. This audio track is pretty damn good, and what is cool about it is on all of the releases, the Blu-ray, the 4K, and the 3D, you get a Dolby Atmos track, and that is really cool, especially on the 3D disc. It is just wide and expansive, and you can hear bats flying over your head, and at the same point in time, you definitely get some hard-hitting moments, but that just shows you how dynamic this track actually is. It is subtle at times, and it actually can be a hard-hitting track at times. Hans Zimmer's score for this movie, you know, I don't like it as much as Man of Steel. It goes into the more atonal kind of droniness that he kind of goes into for Christopher Nolan. I feel like he kind of channeled that here. But at the same point in time, it does come across really good in Dolby Atmos, and it is very well represented here. Height speakers are kind of limited here, and I mean even more limited than Man of Steel. And that is my one ding against this track. You definitely get, like I said before, the bats over your head, and you definitely get the score in your height speakers as well. But at the same point in time, some of the big moments, like the end battle, it's very light in your height speakers, and I didn't expect that. So I will just, with that in mind, give this a 9 out of 10. This is still a really good Dolby Atmos track, but at the same point in time, it is a little light in the height speakers, so I can't give it a 10 out of 10 for that. So next, you know we got to talk about the special features, and that's coming up for you guys next. So getting into the special features for Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, they definitely improve things with this release because you actually get the same special features on the 4K package that you get in the standard Blu-ray package. But at the same point in time, none of them in the 4K Ultra HD package are on the 4K Ultra HD disc. I know that's complicated, but just to say that basically means they just took the Blu-ray that was in that standard package and put it into the Ultra HD package. That's what they did. So what we get here is a whole lot of featurettes going into the Rage of Batman. I found that one kind of needless, but it goes into, you know, Batman and why he's pissed at Superman and that whole thing. And they are actually going to give us a 22-minute featurette that goes into the making of the Batmobile and what they wanted to do for the new Batmobile in this movie. It looks pretty damn cool, and yeah, that's a really good featurette. And then, you know, they go into the conflict between Batman and Superman. We definitely have a lot of featurettes that are reasonably lengthy, with the making of the Batmobile being the longest one. I will give the special features here for both releases a 6 out of 10. So I still have to get into my last looks at Batman Dawn of Justice with the overall scores for all the releases, and that is coming up for you guys next. So Batman vs. Superman was again another polarizing movie for me, even more polarizing than Man of Steel. I thought that really wasn't going to be the case, but man, was it ever. Now, I will just say that I did like certain things about this movie. I really liked Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne and Batman, even though he is an insane Batman. Unfortunately, Henry Cavill's Superman goes even deeper into that whole brooding realm where I really didn't want him to go, and he is just a really just petulant character in this movie that I can't get with. This movie had some good action, but for the most part, I really don't like the things that this movie does and all of the plot contrivances, and that really is my biggest gripe with this movie. And if I had to sum it up in just one word, I will call it contrived. And if you didn't check out my video review of the movie itself, I gave it a 3 out of 10. Didn't really like this one. And if you add up all my scores for the Blu-ray, that comes out to a 25. And for the 4K release, that actually comes out to a 26. And for the 3D, that actually comes out to a 22. The movie score actually really hurt this one. And along with the 3D score for that 3D transfer, yeah, that wasn't really that good. So coming up next for you guys, I have my review for the Blu-ray and the 4K Blu-ray of Suicide Squad. And that is going to be coming up for you guys real soon. So subscribe so you know when that video comes out, and comment down below if you have anything that you want to tell me about this release that I didn't think of. Comment below and just tell me. And as always, guys, you're great. Thank you for watching my videos, and I will see all of you next time.